All right, everyone, it's 2 o'clock and welcome to our Community Engagement Council virtual parent meet and greet. It is so wonderful to see so many of you, to see your faces, to welcome you to our meeting. I'm Valerie Temez. I'm the Director of Advancement. I'm also a very proud parent. I have two children here at TMI, one in 10th grade and a new TMI student in 6th grade. I am ecstatic and energized and pumped up to be a part of this community. Go Panthers. I'm going to go ahead and kick things off our meeting with a opening prayer, and I'm going to ask our head of school, Father Scott, to lead us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let us pray. Good and gracious God, thank you for the gift of a new day. Thank you for opportunities to gather, even if it's virtually, in your presence, which is bigger than technology. Lord, in the midst of all that we have going on in our lives, assure us of your presence, assure us of your peace, assure us that you're a God that is in control. Thank you for our parents and our students, for those who trust TMI with the greatest gift God ever gave them, the gift of their children. Lord, grant us wisdom and courage and strength to lead with integrity as we continue the mission that you've set before us in raising great human beings who ultimately will serve the world and serve you. Bless our conversation and our parents and our families this day and always. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Father Scott. Well, the purpose of today is we wanted to, again, welcome all of our parents, returning parents, new parents to this school year. And we also wanted to take the time to really share with each and every one of you a little bit about our Community Engagement Council, which is our parent auxiliary group here at TMI. Most schools have groups like a parent club or a family association. There's booster clubs. And here at TMI, we are one big umbrella of parent volunteers all working together because we believe that together we are stronger and together we can accomplish more. So about 2 years ago, we joined all of our different auxiliary groups into one big umbrella called the Community Engagement Council. But all of those important initiatives that happen for any school, working on important areas of teacher support, student support, athletics, Corps of Cadets, programs, our different extracurricular activities are all part of our CEC agenda. So we just all work together to try to help the school in those important ways. So the purpose of the Community Engagement Council is really to help provide and to enhance the collaboration and the communication between parents and the school. Here at TMI, I have the privilege of working in the advancement office, and part of our role here in the school is to work with our different community groups, from alumni to grandparents to parents. And the CEC is one of those special groups who we couldn't accomplish what we do without. So I just want to say thank you to all of our CEC volunteers and to all of you who are considering to get involved and be a part of it. The other part of today's call is to really talk about ways that you can be involved in the culture of parent involvement here at TMI. I believe that the difference between a good school and a great school is the community and the support of the community, which here at TMI is very strong. So I want to go and introduce who the people are behind the scenes, who are our parent leaders who have been working tirelessly over really the last 2 school years, because last spring with COVID and the pandemic hitting, our season, our usual season of a turnover of leadership pretty much stopped because we weren't in a position to be able to do elections. We weren't in a position to be able to garner some new volunteers. So a slate of officers and leaders who are parents from last year's committees said, this is our gift to you. Here's how we can help support you, TMI, is we will all stay in place until next school year or until others are able to step in and help us. So we are just incredibly grateful for that support from our group of volunteers who've been with us the last 2 years. I want to start by introducing to you our co-executive chairs, which is Christian Jackson and Jeff Kell. If y'all will kind of raise your, or kind of wave in the call. There we go. And then also I want to just mention a few other people who are also part of our executive board and who are also part of our committees, who are our chairs, who are working behind the different areas of support. New to the role, our secretary, is Sharon Walls. She's a new parent here of a 9th grader, Calvin. And I want to stop and just say thank you to our outgoing secretary, which is Beth Hawkins. Beth Hawkins, where I see Beth, there we go. So Beth has been working in this role really for the last several years. And so we're really grateful for her support and all the hard work she's done. And we're really eager and excited to welcome Sharon into this new role. The next person is Flora Gedeshay. Flora, there's Flora. Flora is also another new parent who's helping us this year. And Flora is coming in, taking the role. And I want to also pause and say thank you, a big shout out to Carrie Morrison, who's a 12th grade mom, who has been the treasurer of the CEC and the Booster Club for many years. And we're so grateful for her hard work. So we want to say thank you to Carrie for that. Other leaders that we have on the CEC is our community programs chair, Terry McDowell. There's Terry, and Tracy Garcia, another new member to the group. Thank you, Tracy, for stepping in. We're looking forward to working with you. I want to just take a minute to talk a little bit about Terry McDowell and her role. She really comes with a lot of experience and involvement on the Corps cadets and the side. So she's really brought a lot of energy, and she can really shed a lot of information to you parents who are interested in knowing more insight about the Corps, those things you want to know as a parent, what to look ahead for. Terry is also chairing this year's military ball alongside Rosita Tersarkisian. So thank you both, Terry and Rosita, for taking on that big role. So Terry is that person that you can connect with if you want to know more about the Corps, whether your student is in the Corps or maybe your child is interested in learning about the Corps. Terry can help you and get you plugged in there.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I'm sure that Terry welcomes and will have lots of different ways within the Corps cadets and the parents, ways that you can be involved and help on some different projects that they have, not just this year, but in the next year as well. Moving on to the next role within the CEC is our fundraising group, because the CEC is a fundraising arm of TMI. The CEC helps raise important dollars throughout the year through concessions, through our Spirit store, and that revenue goes back into the school and goes back to help our greatest need in the different wish lists that we have from our different programs, from academics to athletics. And so Lupita Corbet, Lupita is our fundraising chair, and under Lupita, she also is handling our athletic program and live stream. We also have our Spirit store, which is chaired by Carrie Sherman. I don't know if Carrie's on the call, but Carrie Sherman. We have this year a little different because of we aren't gathering in person, but we have our online store. And so Kristen Jackson has been doing a great job taking the lead over the summer and continuing to help with the merchandise there on the online store. And then we also have our uniforms, our used uniform sales. So there's a Facebook page where parents can loop into, and if you have uniforms that no longer fit your children, or if you're looking for some pre-owned uniforms to do some exchanges, we have a Facebook page for that. Jill Clark, she is the chair of the uniform resale. So you'll be hearing more about that this year, more information coming. Our hospitality chair is Kristen Adamek. Kristen, there's a number of different ways that the CEC supports our school, but one of the things that I can say as a staff member is how much our parents show their appreciation and their encouragement and support to teachers and to staff. And so CEC helps with initiatives like teacher treats, faculty support. If a faculty member is needing some additional volunteers in their area of program or in their clubs, this is a great way for parents to be a part of that. And Kristen kind of oversees all of that umbrella, everything from our Meet the Teacher night and family orientation. There's just a number of different moving parts to the hospitality side. Many of you who are new parents might recall last school year, when you came to maybe a social or you came for an admissions event, there may have been parents who you met at the door. Many of those parents, we had the help through CEC to help provide us hospitality volunteers to be a part of those special events and activities. Our school spirit chair, it's another new position that just recently was filled. We had an opening there, and Juliet Briskin, who is also a new TMI mom, she has just stepped into that role. And some of the areas under school spirit have to do with our homecoming, which this year we did postpone it. So we will be having some other type of spring event that we're tracking for the spring to do something that would be similar to homecoming. So the school will work with CEC to help on that side. And then finally, our volunteer chair, which is really pivotal to this whole operation, because Lisa Harthen, who's our volunteer chair, if you're looking for where do I go, how do I get plugged in, who do I talk to, how do I just know, want to know a little bit more about all these different areas, Lisa Harthen can be your go-to person. She also helps serve as a liaison between our chair of our Panther Pals, which is Alyssa Moya, those wonderful monthly newsletters that we all get by grade. Parent Pals is responsible for that. So we love our Parent Pal volunteers, our representatives who help keep our parents by grade connected with socials. And this year, with things being a little bit different, it's been exciting to see how our Parent Pals have adapted by creating virtual opportunities for us to still stay connected with virtual coffee or virtual cocktail hour, so many fun things. So thank you to our Parent Pals, Alyssa Moya, who's chairing that group, keeping us communicated with everything that's going on and the ins and outs of the school as it relates to our child's individual grade. And then volunteers at large, what does that mean? I'm sure many of you are wondering, what does that mean to be a volunteer at large? Well, a volunteer at large is really just saying, I don't have a specific area or role that I necessarily need to be placed at, but just put me on a pool of volunteers. And when a situation comes up, when a volunteer need happens, you can call on me and I'm willing to help out as needed. That might mean an assembly group to put together some teacher treats, package them up together and drop them off. It might be helping with a special mail out. It might be helping with setup for an activity or an event. But volunteers at large are really our army of volunteers who work behind the scenes, who just help as needed, wherever there's a great need for some extra hands to pitch in. I'm gonna go ahead and also talk a little bit about, I know this meeting is really about our CEC because that's our big umbrella of parent volunteers, but I couldn't let this meeting go without mentioning that there are also some other important groups on campus who are parent volunteers who are doing some incredible work behind the scenes and helping our school. And that's one group is our parent cabinet, our TMI Fund parent cabinet, who this year it's being chaired by Roxanne Bond and Mickey Philbin. If any of you are on that parent cabinet, I see some of your faces out there, maybe wave or give us a shout. There we go, there's Chris, I see her. I just want to say this is a group of parents who help every year help our school with our annual parent drive, our giving drive. And so this special group of parent volunteers, they really just help us to try to continue to advance the mission of our school and to help us raise important funds every year throughout our entire community. So that's another way of getting involved and working with the advancement office and our head of school office to help really spread the word and to carry on our mission. And then the other group is a fun group called our Stars Over TMI Planning Committee. This year it's being chaired by Lisa Harthen and Alyssa Moya. So if there are any party planners out there, people who like to plan a good party, we want you on this group. I know that Lisa and Alyssa would welcome any additional help, anybody out there who enjoys planning a special gala like ours. This is a 26-year tradition that TMI has. In the spring, we have a wonderful, elegant gala that raises important funds for our school. So this year we are on track to have that gala on April 10th at La Cantera. So more information will be coming out on that event. But if you're interested in seeing where you can help, how you can be a part of that committee, you can reach out to the advancement office or directly to Lisa Harthen and Alyssa Moya. I'm going to pass the time over right now to Jeff, again, who's our executive co-chair of the CEC. And he's going to talk a little bit about why he's involved and also about some exciting things happening this year because of the efforts of our CEC.
Awesome. Thanks, Valerie. It's a pleasure to be here, especially to see all the new faces. I've been around TMI for some time, since about 2016. I have a son that graduated in 2019 that's at Colorado School of Mines. And then I have a junior, Lance, who is, having fun with all this COVID stuff that we're dealing with. Got to keep a positive perspective and, kind of take it a little bit of humor just because of everything that we're dealing with. And so with that, I want to thank everybody for coming. And one of the reasons we wanted to have this meeting today was to share what CEC is all about and why some of us really got engaged with this. I got engaged early on when we joined TMI. One is I wanted to find an outlet where I could help support the school and the students. And as I've done that since 2016, I've become so much of a cheerleader for TMI. I just totally believe in everything that's happening on the campus, from the academics to the athletics to the core and to the faith base that our children get to experience while we're here at TMI. I started off with the TMI Boosters, and we were a pretty rowdy group when we started, the Boosters. We pretty much focused just on athletic type of stuff, where we were doing concessions and doing some of the athletic type of activities. And during my tenure here and part of the Boosters, now the CEC group, we decided to do a couple of major things that have happened. And then I'll give you a brief on a couple of things that we're doing right now, some new initiatives. But since I've been on board, we've brought a couple things aboard. One thing I noticed is just looking at, forgive me for a second. Sorry about that. I'm actually helping a friend out right now over at a school district. And so some of the things that we've done is I noticed, looking at the call and looking at everybody's cameras that on, I believe I see only 3 men on this call. Father Scott and another gentleman and myself. And one of the initiatives that I wanted to start with the Boosters is, how can I get dads engaged with TMI to help at least have a face on campus? And one of the things that we started was the Panther Crew. And many of you may have seen our big Panther Spirit Tunnel that we got a couple years ago. That was an initiative that I pushed forward to get dads engaged. So I want to give a big shout out to the dads when we can get them on campus to help us out. There's nothing like having that male figure there for these students to see their engagement as volunteers, as servant leaders. And so that's one of the things we did. A couple of years ago, we introduced the awards banquet for all the athletes at the end of the year. Unfortunately, last year, because of COVID, we weren't unable to have it. Crossing our fingers that hopefully this year, in some form, we might have some in person, maybe a blended type of awards banquet. But that was something that we initiated, and Lupita, who's online here, was really helpful in pulling that together as well. A lot of the members that were here that I started with have gone now, but it's nice to see these new faces, and I want to get you drawn in to help us planning and coordinating some of this stuff. We also decided a couple years ago, as Valerie said, is we joined the Family Association and the Boosters Club and the military ROTC groups, so that we had one organization that was looking after the needs of the students, the immediate needs. And as we do that, there's a lot of things that go on. We have the faculty and administration side of the house. We have our athletic side of the house. We have the core side of it. So we felt it was pertinent that we bring all of these members together. So instead of working as 3 or 4 different independent groups, we come together and work together and help support our students as a whole. And so some of those things that we've done at TMI over the last couple of years, not only the things that we've done, but we've supported many of the different programs. We've scholarshiped a couple of students in the ROTC to participate in, I forget what the games were called, the Alpha Games, I believe. We've sponsored the band. We've bought them T-shirts for football activities. We've bought equipment for our athletic groups. We put in the time clock for the swimming pools. We've done so many things for TMI, jerseys. We've done a lot of that. But we couldn't do that without all of our volunteers here. And so this is an opportunity to kind of share some of those things that we're doing. And as you know, right now we're dealing with a major pandemic. There's a lot of uncertainty around it still to this day. There's a lot of false information out there. There's a lot of good information out there, and it's hard to navigate the waters. But we can only get through this together as a team and as a family. And some of the things that we've been working on behind the scenes, number one is all of you are aware of the Spirit Store. And I have to give major kudos to Kristen for helping pull that on board along with the face mask website so that our students can buy appropriate face masks for our students. That's something that we had to do ad hoc and bring that on board pretty quick. We also have the Spirit Store online, which we've never had a Spirit Store online. So this is the first time that we've done that, a big request. However, we did open up doors to a Spirit Store on campus. Unfortunately, it hasn't been opened. I'm hoping sooner than later we get to see you guys in the store to see all the wonderful things that our volunteers have put together and done for us. And so these are just some examples of some things. And most recently, because of the pandemic, we've been limited to the number of people we can have on campus to attend events. And we know that we don't have football this year, but we do have other sports like our volleyball. We do have basketball starting up. We plan on moving forward with our lacrosse, our baseball, all those other activities. But one of the problems that we saw was, well, that's great that we're doing all of this, but none of our spectators are going to be able to really see or witness these games because of the social distancing and the number of people that we have present. So one of the things that we've been working with the athletic director, Coach Palomo, Kristen and I, and several other people, Lupita, we've all been working on a live streaming effort so that we will be able to, and this is going to go live here right after the Thanksgiving holidays, we will be able to live stream all of our activities in the gymnasiums, Gym 1, Fondren Stadium, and we're looking at expanding that into Gym 2, into the black box for any sort of theater production. We have Fondren Stadium, so all the ROTC activities, pass and review, can be broadcast. And then we're looking at the baseball fields as well as the multi-purpose field. So one of the goals that we wanted to do is to put TMI on a different playing field than all of our competitors out there. And that was to offer this artificial intelligence video system where it will automatically click on for a game and it follows where things are going on. And we're hoping to launch that right after Thanksgiving. We're in the process of getting installation up and going as we speak. So that is one of our major activities that we've been working on in the background as we go through all of this. And then the second exciting initiative that we're starting is as you know, Pit Stop and Cafe Team have, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. And then our final initiative is because our revenue sources have been hurt pretty significantly due to our concession sales that we had at Pit Stop and all of our athletic games, is we are evaluating and looking into getting some vending machines on campus to help supplement those concessions for students for after school and even for students during school and the weekends with all the activities that are on campus. So we're actually looking at expanding those capabilities, bringing them on campus and expanding them. So you can see that just in the last 6 months during the pandemic, we've brought on a face mask store. We've got the Spirit Store online. We're bringing live streaming on. I will add that this live streaming puts us in a category like nobody else I'm going to be bold enough to say, in the state of Texas. We will have capabilities to live stream everything that we are doing at TMI in terms of activities. The good news is the CEC is supporting it. So we're paying for everybody's subscriptions for this first year so that you can get on and actually view it, the activities that your children or family members are in. Grandparents can look at this. So that's a huge event. And then finally, bringing on some snacks for the kids during the days, being that there's not a lot of options. That's what the CEC is all about, is bringing on new ideas. How can we help improve and push TMI forward to be a leader in everything that we do? And so with that said, I want to thank everybody for being on board. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities that are available, and I hope that we can get you guys involved. Talk to your husbands. I would love to get the Panther crew back together, the dads, get them back together to start doing some stuff in the background. And we got a lot of positions as we come back to some sort of sense of normalcy that will need lots of volunteers to kick in. It's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to grow your family. And I will tell you from experience, I have families from 2016, 17 that were 2-3 years ahead of me that we are very dear friends with. And we have a family, and it's a family outside of TMI that was developed at TMI. So with that said, go Panthers.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for that update and for all that you're doing. I just want to echo Jeff's remarks that it's really a great way to be involved and to get to know fellow parents, and really to get to know your students and their classmates. I think that's a really fun part of being involved and helping behind the scenes. And you also get to know a lot of our administrators. I know on this call right now, I see, of course, we have our head of school. I also see Tracy Carter on the call. Tracy, who's our Dean of Community and Wellness, who is working tirelessly to bring us as parents, parent education, bringing us different workshops and webinars and different Zoom calls so that we can continue to learn more about what we should know about this time in our kids' lives. So Tracy, along with our Director of Athletics, Coach Palomo, Major Claiborne, Miss Salinas, so many, Matt Duke, who's our CFO. These are also our administrators who are working together with the CEC alongside to partner up and to see how we can take these ideas that parents have to help enhance TMI and bring them to fruition. I want to ask, I asked Lisa Harthen, who's our volunteer chair of the CEC, if she could just spend a little time and just give you a little bit of insight as to what it means to be a volunteer here at TMI and a little bit about our culture of parent involvement.
Well, it's easy to speak about being a volunteer here at TMI. I am in my 11th consecutive year as a TMI parent, and I think I've been involved the whole way along. No role is too small. Every person who volunteers at school makes a difference, whether it's taking gate money for a football game or, chairing some of the things for annual giving, which is very important for our school. Everyone is involved. One of the things I really wanted to impress upon everyone is how lucky we are as parents that we are welcomed at school. In a normal year, they want us on campus. They encourage us to come to chapel, listen to a senior give their chapel talk. I know Tracy Carter, I learned from her parent education last night that she's going to be putting together a sign up for us to tour the new Walker Innovation Center, which is, our new exciting building on campus where we are just going leaps and bounds with our curriculum for all aspects of the school. So they want us on campus, they want us learning about the school. And I think that's special because in a lot of larger public schools, there's the front door and it kind of stays closed unless you are on a board, a PTO board. Maybe you get on campus, but you're not necessarily as welcomed if you'd like to come on and just look around. I remember a couple of years ago, there were a few of us moms that would actually gather on the track and walk. So when we're talking about volunteering for TMI, it really comes from the heart. It's something that parents are compelled to do because they want to be on campus and they want to get to know the faculty and staff, as Valerie said. And it's, I love being around where my kids are and learning who their friends are and being able to put a face to a name. So, we encourage I'm the one that you need to reach out to if you'd like to sign up to get involved in some way. We have a lot of great things happening in the spring. Like Valerie mentioned, Alyssa and I are chairing STARS, which is our very nice gala that we have every year that does so much for our school in bringing in needed funds for different programs. And we're a fun group, and we have some things that we need to get accomplished in the spring to pull that off. So I'd love to hear from you and welcome you into the group, and maybe you'd learn a little bit more about what's going on campus. Valerie?
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that with us. Well, at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our head of school, Father Scott Brown, who's going to share with us an update on TMI and just what the current state is here at our school.
Thank you, Valerie. I appreciate everybody's time this afternoon. I'll divide this into two chapters. Chapter 1 is COVID update, and Chapter 2 is non-COVID update. So we'll start with COVID because I don't know if you know this, but we're in the middle of a global pandemic and trying to navigate our way through it, which is very, very fun on our campus. Let me give you an update of what that looks like. Today, we're 460 students is our total enrollment. 10% of our students chose to stay home remotely, chose to participate in the virtual instruction. So that left about 410 or so on campus. As you know, because we send you a ton of communication, as of today, we have 55 students who are quarantined for potential exposure or direct exposure. So let me tell you a little bit about what that means. Also, let me tell you that we have 0 teachers. So 0 teachers at this point have quarantined. So we have an internal document and one that we've shared externally as well that has our protocol for contact tracing and for exposure. So if somebody is in direct exposure with somebody that either has COVID symptoms or has tested positive for COVID, then that person, because of the direct exposure, has to quarantine for 14 days. Anybody that was in contact with that person is considered a secondary exposure and does not need to quarantine unless the person who is the primary contact or primary exposure starts to develop symptoms. Let me say this, and I told a group today, I wish I could tattoo this on top of my forehead and tell the world this, because the question comes up about 10 times a day. You cannot test your way out of quarantine. So if your son or daughter happens to be called and we call you and say your son or daughter was exposed to somebody with COVID symptoms or a positive case, they have to quarantine for 14 days, period. You can take 10 consecutive days of a negative test, a PCR test, any test, but you cannot test your way out of quarantine, because scientifically, as Metro Health and our medical consultants have told us, you could still be symptomatic or carrying the virus for up to 14 days, even if you're asymptomatic. And so you could be negative for 13 days. You could take negative tests every day for 13 days. And we have seen this. On the 14th day, people have developed symptoms. So therefore, if you are a firsthand exposure to a COVID case or a potential COVID case, it's a 14-day exposure and you cannot test out of quarantine. I get that question every day, multiple times a day. But my kid doesn't feel bad. My kid feels fine. They've been home 10 days now and they've had 5 negative tests, and we're grateful for that. And after 14 days, they can come back to campus. I'm thankful for the parents that have been honest with us, and we've had really very few issues with parents. Parents have been very cooperative and telling us, man, my kid was exposed to somebody in my family that was sick, or here's what's going on in my family, and we appreciate that transparency. But I would ask for your cooperation outside of campus. We can only control inside this gates. I can't control what you do with your children on the weekends. We know that some of our kids play club volleyball games or club soccer tournaments or have birthday parties or go to events with their friends. And I would implore you, I would beg you to please ask your children to follow the same rules off campus that we ask them to follow on campus. It is really difficult for us when we send a kid home on quarantine because they had a direct exposure, only to find out from second and third and fourth parties that that child was playing in a club volleyball team or showing up at a basketball tournament or going to a sleepover at a friend's house. So I'm just begging you, parents, we're in this together. And there is a variety of opinions about all things COVID. I don't know if you know this, but we had an election last week and it was pretty contentious. All things in our country tend to be very polarizing, and COVID is a polarizing conversation. And there are people on this call who think a variety of ways about COVID, but I'm just asking you, we got 480 folks on this campus every day, and it's helpful if you would echo at home what we're trying to echo on this campus to keep folks on campus as long as possible. One question I want to address is what would cause us, TMI, to shift from our current in-campus instruction to a completely hybrid or remote? That's a difficult question, and I get asked that often. In other words, what metrics are we tracking that would say, okay, we've hit that metric, we're all going remote for X amount of days? We haven't established that line for a variety of reasons. We want to do what's best for us. So we're tracking Metro Health, we're listening to our medical consultants. Certainly one thing that would cause us to have to go remote is if a number of faculty were forced to quarantine. If there was a great exposure and I had to send 6 or 7 faculty members home for 14 days, I don't have 6 or 7 subs to come in and teach those classes. So an exposure like that would cause us to go remote for a little bit of time. That's an example that comes to my head of something that would trigger us going into remote for some period of time. Even more reason why I need your help off campus in keeping our kids safe. I get asked a lot of questions about sports. We have officially closed the fall season. We made it through volleyball season with no, we didn't have to cancel a single game in volleyball because of COVID. After volleyball was over, we had some issues, but volleyball made it safe and sound, as did cross country. Cross country and the boys actually made it, finished third in the state of Texas in cross country. So congrats to that team as well. But going into the winter, we have swim, soccer, and basketball. Those are going to be interesting seasons. Basketball in particular, it's an indoor sport with no mask while you play. We're going to do the best we can. We believe in parent choice at TMI. If you're not comfortable with your child playing a sport, that's your choice. If you're comfortable with them playing, that's your choice. But we're going to continue with basketball as long as we can, in hopes that what we do on campus and off campus allows us to continue to do that. We have our first home games tonight. And the holiday is coming up. I get a lot of questions. What are we going to do about Thanksgiving? What are we going to do about Christmas? We have extended to you, again, the theme of parent choice, the opportunity to keep your child home for 1 or 2 weeks after the Thanksgiving break or after the Christmas break, if that's more comfortable for you, to allow for some time to pass between travel. But we're just begging our families to make good decisions. We're not asking you to not travel. Plane rides are actually moderately okay right now. If you read CDC, Metro Health, and various articles on the safety of plane travel. But I would ask that you not get off of that plane and go to a concert where there's people from all over the world there. So it's the choices you make, and we're asking you to make good choices so that we can stay on campus, and realizing that if you make choices, even if they're yours to make, and then you bring back to campus a potential exposure, that could shut down a basketball program for the season, that could shut down the school if a number of teachers get infected or exposed, and those decisions you make off campus do directly affect us on campus. So work with us. We're in this together. That's my COVID update. And if you have any questions about anything COVID, I went to seminary, not medical school, but I'll do my best to become a COVID expert. And I can certainly tell you why we do what we do, even if it's unpopular. My own son has had to quarantine for a couple of days as we've had a pending case. I understand that this is an inconvenience. I get it. It's not what we want either, but we're doing the best we can to try to give you a choice and to try to get kids on campus and stay on campus as long as possible. Anything COVID related, you can type it in the chat bar. Other than that, I will again extend the invitation to reach out to me with any questions about COVID. We actually do other things than talk about COVID at our school, which is fantastic. We are at capacity. That's a nice head of school update. Our COVID capacity is 460 students, and we're at 459 as of today. Some pre-COVID news. If you remember the 2019-2020 school year, we opened opening day 2019 with the largest enrollment in school history, 484 students. And we were trending to break that record heading into this year. We were trending about 490 students for this academic year pre-COVID. And so I'm excited about the future of TMI. I do believe that we're the best school in San Antonio, and our numbers would show that. We're actually the largest, you may not know this, but we're actually the largest independent high school in San Antonio. So even if you look at St. Mary's Hall and Keystone, they may be larger because they are K through 12th grade. But if you look at just the enrollment of 9th through 12th grade, we're actually the largest independent high school in the city, and very proud of that, and feel like our enrollment numbers and even the tours that we're doing right now in the admissions office are very exciting. If you get a chance, go to our website. Aaron Hawkins, really his wife Beth did it all, but Aaron will take the credit. Aaron and his department redid a bunch of videos on our webpage. They're outstanding. So traditionally we would have, so many of your sons and daughters came for a shadow day, really hard to do a shadow day. So we essentially did 10 or 12 little 2-minute videos about various parts of our community for prospective students to check out. And I'm really proud of Aaron and Christina and Grace in the admissions office for the hard work that they put into those videos. Very, very cool. All that to say that our enrollment is outstanding and trending in the right direction. I want to also update you that the Board of Governors has, that's our, some schools have a Board of Trustees. We call it a Board of Governors. That's our governing body. That's my boss. That's several board members in this, or a couple of board members on this call today. The Board of Governors at our recent off-campus, off-site retreat, we actually had it on campus, but our recent retreat pressed go on the adoption of a master plan. we have some deferred maintenance and some future facilities needs. And in order to really make sure we're taking the right steps in the right order, we are in the process of developing a master plan. One of the very, very first things that we will address in the master plan is infrastructure. You have picked up your child. The best day in a TMI parent's life is the day that they turn 16 and they can drive themselves to school and you don't have to wait in the carpool line anymore. But as you know, we have one ingress and one egress. And so we've got to address traffic flow and parking and all of that. But it would not make sense to address infrastructure until you know where future buildings are going, where future homes or houses or facilities would go. And so we are on track to develop a master plan by next spring. We have conversations going on right now with different groups and feasibility studies. And I would imagine that by March or April, you will be hearing a board announcement of the unveiling or revealing of a 5-year master plan, which would show which buildings go in which order as we grow the campus and address some facilities needs. I can tell you that in addition to infrastructure, one of the places that we will be giving some attention in the next couple of years at the top of that list will be in our residential life program. Our residential life program is an outstanding extension of our commitment to raising great human beings. It's mission appropriate. It adds some diversity to our campus that we think makes us a better place. It's a unique program in our school with about capacity right now for about 50 boarders, some domestic, some international. If you've ever driven around back to the backside of the dorms, you would see that 4 of those dorms are old temporary dorms that need some addressing. So that's one of the first places we'll focus on in our master plan, and some really exciting other things that we're working on that I'll save until the spring to update you on once the board approves some of them. The last thing I want to tell you about is our commitment to the whole child at TMI. A lot of schools use the phrase the whole child to talk about the tenets of healthy, safe, engaged, challenged, supported students. We at TMI like to use the phrase challenged, cherished, known. Our students are challenged, they are cherished, and they are known. You may recognize that phrase because Tracy Carter has put together a 3-part parent ed series called Challenged, Cherished, Known. And yesterday was 2 opportunities, 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., to learn a little bit more about what we mean when we say we challenge our students. And I also want to say that when we say challenged, cherished, known, we don't compartmentalize those. We don't say, well, we challenge students in the classroom, we cherish them in chapel, and we know them in athletics. No, we challenge in athletics, we challenge in core, we challenge in the classroom, we challenge in extracurricular, we cherish in athletics, we cherish in the classroom, we cherish in extracurricular. We challenge, cherish, and know your child in every facet on this campus. And that's our commitment to the whole child. That's true to our Episcopal identity. That's who we've always been. Let me make that really practical for me, at least. I have 3 children. My 3 children are very, very different children. They are motivated by different things. In our mission statement, we say we challenge motivated students. I have 3 children who are motivated by different things. My oldest son is motivated by academics. He's motivated by honors classes and AP courses. He's motivated by academic rigor. He is motivated by challenging courses. That is not true for my middle child, who is motivated by athletics, motivated by opportunities to have fun and participate in more extracurricular activities. And then I have a daughter who will come to TMI soon, in a couple of years, who is motivated by all things artistic, creative. My children are motivated by different things. TMI historically has been a school for all kinds of children, but recently has developed a reputation for being a school that challenges students so long as they are challenged by academic rigor and academic rigor alone. We can challenge your child if academic rigor is what challenges them. But if your child is motivated by other things, we can challenge them as well. And so being a school for a diverse group of learners is who we are. It's who we've always been. And we as a board and as a community want to lean in to that whole child. We can do it all. We can do both. We can't do it all, but we can do both. We can challenge academically and we can cherish on the other end. And we don't have to be a school that simply and only fosters a path for really, really, really smart kids to get into really, really great colleges. We can do that and more. and that's what it means to be a school for the whole child. And I would encourage you to reach out to Tracy and learn more about the Parent Ed series that is coming your way. We already, as I said, we already did the Challenged, but Cherished and Known is up and coming in a few weeks. That concludes my prepared remarks, and I'm happy to address any questions you have about COVID, about where we're headed, or about anything else TMI related. You can do that in the chat or raise your hand as Kristen Jackson just did.
Is the Tracy Carter's Challenged from yesterday, the video, is it recorded? Can we listen to it?
I know that it was recorded, but I don't know when it will be available. Tracy, can you speak to that?
I can, yes, it was recorded, and sorry, of course the phone rings right when I have to talk. It was recorded and Stephanie's in the process. It should be up tonight. We're looking at putting it in several different places before we find a permanent home, but yes, it should be up tonight, tomorrow at the latest. They'll all be recorded.
Any other questions about anything I addressed or anything I didn't address? All right, let's stick together as we round out into
Father
the
Scott?
Thanksgiving break. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, hi. I'm sorry. I was
Hi,
trying
Ms.
to.
Nicole. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm always late to these calls because of my teaching schedule, so I apologize.
No problem.
I'm really excited to hear about the volunteer opportunities and everything going on, and I want to explore that, especially with Lisa and Valerie. But I'm also wondering, as you know, Lucas is part of the 10% that's doing remote instruction. Does anyone, or do you have any ideas on how we could better connect the remote learner students to be a support network to each other as well? Because it's not an easy situation to be in, right? It's not normal for them. Excuse me. Especially my son Lucas, who was so active and involved in everything under the sun before COVID hit. I was just looking for either this group to possibly put that on the table of a way to keep those students connected and engaged to the best of our ability, knowing that they're still remote and they can't be on campus right now. So I would just welcome ideas on that. I'm happy to even start something if someone could give me some ideas or some support on how to best do that, or even access to the other families. I don't even know who they are at this point besides our own grade level. But I would welcome ways to better connect those remote learners, because this is not an easy time for them at any grade, but especially I would say sixth grade has its own challenges, right? So.
It's a great idea, Michelle. We have a senior leadership team meeting tomorrow, in which one of the topics on our discussion for tomorrow is those community days, the Wednesday community days, and talking about how do we make sure that our remote instruction students are feeling as included in the community. Perhaps Wednesdays is a golden opportunity to do some more remote stuff for them. But thank you for the nudge, and I'll let Valerie and Tracy and others kind of marinate on that and think about how we can make sure we're supporting that. I will say that we have 55 other students that can join their 10%, so their group is growing.
Yes, I just want to say, Michelle, would love to connect with you. I think between myself and Tracy and a few others on the senior leadership team, we could connect together with you. We'd love to brainstorm and talk about some ways that we can certainly keep that group more connected who are learning remote. So I'll reach out to you following the meeting offline.
Was that Valerie?
Yes.
Okay, it froze on my side, so thank you, Valerie. And thank you, Scott. Yeah, academically, no complaints, just knocking out of the ballpark, but just looking for that connection to happen a little bit better. And I realize it's limited with remote, and I get that, and we're willing to accept that. But if there's anything we can do to improve that, and I'm really excited about your group, so thank you for having me today.
In a non-COVID year, I have to say, I was just reviewing just the other day some of the different areas of volunteer roles that we have with this group, and just this group alone, easily, I could fill about 30 to 35 leadership roles within the CEC. So I know this year has been a little bit different. Some of our activities and initiatives have either been postponed or they've been put on, they've just been adjusted. But I just want to not only encourage you that are on this call, but those that will be watching this call later, because we are recording it and we're going to share it with our entire parent community for those parents who weren't able to join today. I just want to say how much we appreciate you and how much we encourage you to be involved. There's no role that's too small. Every person can make an impact. You know, when I drive onto campus every day, I see right on the marquee where it says educating servant leaders since 1893. And that really is, you know, here at TMI, it's really more than just a motto. You see that lived out every day on campus with just the different ways that our students are taught to inspire, to learn, to lead. And as a volunteer, you really do have that insight when you're here on campus, and whether you're helping in the spirit store after school, taking a shift and seeing kids run into the gym, and whether it's behind, you know, a concession stand, or whether it's helping to fold homecoming shirts. I mean, there's just, you get to feel it. You feel that excitement and that energy that is happening here at TMI. So I just invite you all to be involved, to reach out. I think if you, anything to take away from today as far as where do I go, who do I talk to learn more, to explore, to volunteer, internally, the advancement office. We're located over in Ayers Hall. We're on the second floor by the library. I want to just mention a few people on this call who are part of our advancement team. Belinda Benavides. Belinda, she's our Associate Director of Development. She is the person responsible for many of the special and fundraising events that we do. Stars Over TMI, she leads that team. Also have Sarah Miller, who's our Associate Director of Stewardship and Donor Constituent Relations. So anytime there's a question about anything happening with our advancement activities or your donations to the school, Sarah is your person to reach out to. And Stephanie Gish. Stephanie is our Director of Marketing and Community Relations. I cannot urge you enough as parents, especially new parents, read news and notes. News and notes, that is like the Bible at TMI. If you want to know what's coming up, what's happening, staying in the loop, news and notes. And Stephanie Gish is responsible for that and that great content, as well as a number of different things that happen that tell TMI's story on our website, on our Facebook page, our Twitter, videos that we do. So anytime that there's a question about things that you see from a marketing side, Stephanie Gish, she's that person. So that's our advancement team, along with Alex Hernandez, Paula Allen, who work on our alumni relations team. And so we're here to work with you, to support you. We sure miss seeing parents come by our office, because we're used to having parents all the time up here in advancement. But we are a phone call away. We know that things are going to be different. Things are going to eventually change. And as we continue to move into a more normal type of routine, we're going to need help. We're going to need parents who can help us take a shift at the spirit store when we reopen. We're going to need parents to help us on those sporting activities, to help with concessions. And we're definitely going to need parents to help us in many of these leadership roles that we have on our board and our committees. So we would normally be meeting at least once or every other month for this group. So by next spring, we're going to bring that back, and so it will either continue virtual, or we'll be able to open up and have some in-person CEC parent-wide meetings, because we want to continue to get to know you. We want to get to continue to hear your ideas. And at the end of the day, it's all about us doing all that we can to make TMI the best school for our children. So I just want to say thank you all again for taking your time out of your very busy day at work, at home, and being a part of this phone call. And let me just make sure there's no other questions. There is a question here. Does anyone know if Pass and Review will be live streamed so that we can share it with family who aren't able to make it? Great question. So the live stream that we're going to be launching won't be launched until after Thanksgiving. As Jeff mentioned, they're still doing the infrastructure, so we won't have the live stream ready just yet by the Pass and Review. Terry, are you aware of any other things with CORE? So at this point right now, I don't believe it will be live stream. Okay. All right, everyone. Jeff, you have one last comment?
Yeah,
Yes.
if I may, real quick. Yeah, so the live streaming, they're actually doing the install now, and it should take about 2 weeks. So we're guesstimating that it'll be online after the Thanksgiving week. I know that basketball's starting here in the next, within this week, I believe, and some of the other things. But, you know, stay tuned. It is being installed, and it will be active for the Fondren Stadium and for Gym 2 at this time. But I just wanted to kind of round out real quick and just thank everybody for attending and kind of listening to our rhetoric that we have to talk about. There are a lot of good things at TMI going on behind the scenes with the parents, and I can't emphasize enough that it's the parents that make the behind the scenes work at TMI. I've done this now since 2016. I love it, but my chapter to my TMI book on campus is nearing an end. I have a junior, so he'll be leaving in a year and a half, and I know that there's a few others here that are in the same position. But I want you to consider really helping us out and getting engaged so that you guys can carry the baton as we move forward. It's been fun carrying it, but I think I'm ready to hand it off here soon. I would like to have the senior year with my son, and I know that there's several other board members that would like to do that too with their children. Once again, a great opportunity to meet some great people, develop and foster some great relationships. TMI, I can't say enough about TMI and what it's done for me and my family. So thank you, Father Scott. Thank you, the administrators. And more importantly, thank you to the parents, because you guys are what makes TMI what it is.
Right.
I have one thing. Sorry, Valerie, let me jump in. I'm just getting some questions here. Jeff, can you answer middle school sports? Will they be on the live stream?
Yes, the intentions is that any camera that's installed in Gym 1, Gym 2, Fondren, Black Box, baseball, softball, and multi-field, any event that is a TMI event will be broadcast on this system. So that is the intent.
And not right away though, right? They're just installing 3 cameras to begin with.
Yes, so for right now, we're just going to take care of our gym. I believe it's Gym 2 that's going in first, because Gym 1's being used for other activities, I think for students right now for lunches and stuff like that. Fondren Stadium is going in. And then early next spring, we'll be putting in, the goal is to get cameras into the Black Box and on the baseball and softball fields. So yes, we are expanding those capabilities to cover everything. So by the end of the spring, TMI campus will be completely accessible to virtual and remote access to all on-campus activities. And that's what sets us apart.
And this is live streaming is much different than Facebook Live. Facebook Live doesn't follow the ball. It's just a camera that someone has to actually physically turn on, and they just can kind of watch one area of the field or the gym. So this is much better than that.
It's like artificial intelligence. Like if you ever watch TV, NFL, the cameras are always following the ball. That's not cameramen. That's actually artificial intelligence now. They're cameras that follow the action on the field. That's what's going to happen with all our sporting events, is that the action will be the center of the broadcast.
And one more thing, I know we talked about a lot of things, but if you are questioning volunteering, have questions about it, want to hear more about it, one contact person would be to contact Valerie, and then she can kind of figure out who you can contact after that. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Valerie.
Yes. All right, everyone. Well, that wraps up our meeting today, our meet and greet. We hope you had enjoyed it, and have a great rest of the day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.